Thanks, Mama, in the backyard. All died in winter rain. I know that living with your baby was sometimes hard, but I'm willing to give it another try. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you.
It was an emotional reunion as Brian Keenan hugged and kissed his two sisters, Elaine and Brenda. Their first sight of their brother, who'd spent 4.5 years in captivity, somewhere in the back streets of Beirut.
A car, which was parked on the other side of the street. There was lots of cars on the street. Just started up, drove over to the side of the street that I was walking down. The door opened, blocking my way. And 3 people jumped out with Kalashnikovs and handguns.
It was British hostage John McCarthy to whom Brian was closest.
My soulmate and my cellmate. John Boy, I call him. How can I forget Johnny McCarthy, whose humour, whose mimicry, whose abundant love of life on so many times seemed to diminish to almost extinction those grinding moments of hopelessness.
There's Mr. Mandela, Mr. Nelson Mandela, a free man taking his first steps into a new South Africa.
Let each one of you and all of our people give the enemies of peace and liberty no space to take us back to the dark hell of apartheid.
Nelson Mandela's arrival at Dublin Airport at lunchtime today was the fulfilment of a promise to the people of the city. 2 years ago, while still in a South African jail, he became the second political prisoner ever to be made a freeman of the capital. At the time, he sent a message saying that someday he would come personally to collect that honour. Today was that day.
Mr. Mandela was given a standing ovation when he entered the Dáil chamber, accompanied by the Taoiseach and other party leaders. He was welcomed by the Ceann-Comhairle, Mr. Tracy, who spoke of his indomitable courage and stirring integrity, and said Ireland applauded his spirit of self-sacrifice.
We would like to extend our thanks to the Taoiseach, the government and the people of Ireland for the enormous contribution you have made to the international struggle for the isolation of apartheid South Africa.
I'd like to thank Christy Brown just for being alive.
But, almost unbelievably, Irish joy was to be further increased with the award for Best Actor.
And the Oscar goes to Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot.
You've just provided me with the makings of one hell of a weekend in Dublin.
for Communications Ray Burke was outlining the changes to the controversial broadcasting bill in the Dáil this morning. Trade union members from RTE were protesting outside.
Agreement to settle the dispute was reached at 6 o'clock this morning. During the all-night talks, 8 of 14 points of disagreement were resolved. The remaining 6 are to be referred to the Labour Court for binding arbitration.
Management at Gather say they're still pessimistic about the bakery reopening. They will meet with directors of the Irish and British groups tomorrow, and a statement is expected sometime on Wednesday.
Some union members said it was only with the publication of yesterday's evening press, which carried a goodbye message signed by the editor, that the reality of the imminent closure set in. When the proposals were put forward again this evening, they were accepted by a majority of journalists.
At the stroke of midnight, the wounds of division were healed and Germany became a nation again for the first time in 45 years. Berlin's Liberty Bell heralded in the new era, and all over the once divided city, church bells rang in response.
Yes, it's a very happy day for all of us, for the whole German nation. After 45 years, this painful separation has come to an end. We are very grateful to our friends in the world here in Ireland who have stood up for our right to self-determination through all these years.
As fireworks filled the sky, Helmut Kohl became the first leader of a democratic united Germany since Adolf Hitler seized power in 1933. The Chancellor looked on as German President Richard von Weizsäcker told the crowd that Germany intended to serve world peace in a united Europe.
Helicopters coming to pick up. I think another bomb was just gone off around the corner. No. Anyway, what I was saying, I think the royal family got away with helicopters. Saw them come in. I also saw fighter planes with rockets under their wings. They went very close to our flat, and one of them let off a rocket which hit near the palace. Now I'm not sure if it was a Kuwaiti one providing cover for the helicopters or not. They flew around a lot of times, then flew away.
It was a joyful reunion for the family and friends of the 32 park workers, who were the first employees of the company to be allowed to come home. They were among a group of over 400 Western women and children who left Baghdad last night. Many were relieved to be at home, but are concerned for those colleagues they have left behind.
The remains of Cardinal Tommaso Fi are lying in state at the Church of St. Teresa, part of the underground Basilica of Pius X, near the grotto in Lourdes. Since early morning, the helpers and nurses from the Armagh Diocese mounted a guard of honour, the groups of 4 changing every half hour. By the simple coffin, there's just one wreath, from the Order of Malta. 725 people, including 125 invalids, accompanied the Cardinal when he led the Armagh Diocese pilgrimage to Lourdes on Monday.
We commit his body to the earth from which it was made. Christ was the first to rise from the dead, and we know that he will raise up our mortal bodies to be like his own in glory. We commend our brother Cardinal Tomas to the Lord. May the Lord receive him into his peace and raise up his body on the last day.
The successor to Cardinal O'Fee is one of Ireland's most experienced bishops. At the age of 73, he's also the oldest bishop to be appointed as Primate of all Ireland since the beginning of the last century. Dr Daly's been a bishop for 23 years. He became Bishop of Ardagh and Clonmacnoise in 1967 and succeeded Dr Philbin as Bishop of Down and Connor in 1982.
Born in 1942 in Inchicore, Dublin, the son of a small farmer and turf seller, he joined the Dublin Fire Brigade at the age of 22. It was during the winter of 1977, crewing the Fire Brigade ambulance, that Willie helped recover the bodies of 8 elderly people who had died unattended and unnoticed in their own homes. One man had been dead 3 months. He began a one-man crusade, putting up posters imploring people to keep a watch on and lend a helping hand to elderly neighbours living alone. That word gave its name to the organisation he founded in May of that year. In his hospital bed, he spoke to me, knowing this interview would not be used until after he had died, but wanting his family to see it.
The way I'd like best to be remembered, that if people would, go and do what they would like done for themselves, and it's their best for old people.
The motion for the second reading has been carried. Let us pray.
As the Synod prayed together, media speculation was already concentrating on the possibility of a split over the decision. This vote is just the first stage. There's a committee stage tomorrow and a vote on the final stage on Thursday. But the view in the Church is that it will be carried.
It's only part of the process, and the process continues over the next couple of days. And I just hope that we can continue with it calmly, peacefully, prayerfully, and without too much hurt on any side.
Well, it's a tremendous step for our whole church.
We don't have a full section.
Is it an emotional moment for you?
It is.
Eyewitnesses say up to 40 Garda cars were involved in the chase from Leixlip. Gardaí from Cabra, Santry, Store Street and Clontarf pursued the green Mazda through the Phoenix Park, Finglas, Phibsborough and finally into Fairview. Gardaí say several shots were exchanged during the chase. Eyewitnesses described how both raiders were slumped over the dashboard of the car and appeared to be seriously wounded when the car was finally brought to a halt.
Today's incident follows several operations in which raiders were intercepted. The most controversial was in Athy in January, when members of the Emergency Response Unit opened fire, wounding several raiders, one fatally, and injuring a number of other people.
She was in Paris, obviously irritated that she hadn't won an outright victory, but making it clear that she intends to continue the fight.
I'm actually very pleased that I got more than half the parliamentary party and disappointed that it's not quite enough to win on the first ballot. So I confirm it is my intention to let my name go forward for the second ballot.
I will therefore allow my name to go forward into the second round.
John Major is described as a Tory with a strong social conscience. It's said he's quiet but tough and hasn't been afraid of causing pain with the government's policy of high interest rates to reduce inflation. As Prime Minister, he'll face the same economic problems he has been struggling with as Chancellor. High inflation, a huge balance of payments deficit, and a dramatic slowdown in economic activity.
Now it's time for a new chapter to open, and I wish John Major all the luck in the world. He'll be splendidly served, and he has the makings of a great Prime Minister, which I'm sure he'll be in very short time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
What about the reports in this morning's Sunday papers that you'll resign from the party leadership?
There's no truth in those reports. There's no basis for those reports. I don't intend to resign.
Mr. Bruton, can I ask you for your reaction as being elected leader of Fine Gael?
Well, it's an enormous honour for me to be selected to lead the party that founded this state, the Fine Gael party. It's a party that, in a sense, represents, in my view, all that is best in Irish life.
For President Gorbachev, the resignation is a body blow. Arguably his closest political friend and the co-author of Perestroika, Shevardnadze, has resigned with dire warnings about the future of the Soviet Union. The resignation is the final act in the greatest crisis of President Gorbachev's career.
I think I have a track record that people like, and people trust me because I have spoken out and made my views known. Young people like that. They're tired of politicians who won't say anything, lest they might lose votes.
My clear recollection of the situation is that I did not speak to President Hillary on that occasion.
Can I put it to you this way? Could I help you? Either you didn't tell the truth to the nation or you didn't tell the truth to Jim Duffy. Are you saying that you didn't tell the truth to Jim Duffy? Is that what you're saying?
I must have been mistaken in what I said to Duffy.
You made a phone call. Oh, I did. Sylvester Barrett made one. That's right. And Mr. Hahn. That's right.
Well, in fact, that's wrong. And I want to emphasise it here because I've checked on it myself. And I know from my mature recollection and discussions with other people that at no stage did I ring President Hillary on that evening, or indeed on any other time?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Mary Robinson, to offer my sincerest congratulations to her.
Maná na Héireann agus Fíor na Héireann. You have chosen me to represent you, and I am humbled and grateful for your trust.